The deep sea is a very extreme environment, and it means that deep sea species often look a bit weird compared to shallow water relatives. Here are some of the weirdest animals in the deep sea. Firstly, one of the most famous weird deep sea animals, the blobfish, doesn't actually look that weird. One of the ways the deep sea environment is extreme is the high pressure. So shallow water fish have swim bladders for buoyancy, but high pressures compressing this would make it useless. So the deepest deep sea fish instead have jelly-like flesh that is lighter than water. And this is why the blobfish looks so weird when we bring it to the surface. It actually looks like a normal fish when it's in the deep sea. Snailfishes are a group of fish found all the way from shallow waters into the deep sea. In fact, the very deepest fish may be the Mariana snailfish, found at 8,178 meters in the Mariana Trench, though very recently an unknown snailfish was found at 8,336 meters in a different trench. And the deepest snailfishes are so jelly-like that if we brought them up to the surface, they would melt. The deepest octopuses are the Dumbo Octopuses, a group of serrata octopus. So there are two types of octopus, inserrata and serrata. Serrata typically live in the deep sea, and the high pressure means they can't move by jet propulsion like the typically shallow water inserrata, and so they have two little fins on their head which they use to move. Another way the deep sea environment is extreme is the lack of sunlight. So many deep sea animals have evolved large eyes to absorb as much light as possible, like the vampire squid has the largest eyes of any animal proportional to its body size. This isn't actually a squid, it's the only species that is in between a squid and an octopus. Some deep sea fish with large eyes are the grenadiers, the hatchetfish, and the tube-eye fish. And the barreleyes are a family of deep sea fish that, as well as having large tube eyes, have a transparent dome-shaped head that helps them to absorb even more light. The lack of light is also why so many deep sea creatures are transparent. They don't need pigment to protect them from UV damage, and so you get animals like the glass octopus, glass squids, and sea angels. Since the lack of sunlight in the deep sea means photosynthesis doesn't occur, another way the deep sea environment is extreme is the lack of food. Many deep sea animals rely on eating dead plants, animals, and animal waste that falls from shallower waters. The vampire squid has two long filaments that are covered in mucus to collect any tiny food particles that may float past, and the big fin squid may use its long tentacles that are 20 times the length of its body to feed in a similar way. Though you don't get photosynthesis in the deep sea, at hydrothermal vents you can find giant 2-meter worms with no mouth or digestive tract who have a sac of symbiotic bacteria that carry out chemosynthesis for them. Another strategy is to be able to eat bigger prey so that you can eat whatever prey you come across. The gulper eel can inflate its mouth like a balloon to be able to swallow prey much bigger than itself. The black swallower also uses this strategy. Its balloon-like stomach means it can swallow prey up to 4 times bigger than itself. But just because you can doesn't always mean you should. If they swallow prey that is too big, then decomposition sets in before they finish digesting it, and this releases gases that force them all the way up to the surface. In fact, this is how most specimens were collected. The fangtooth has the largest teeth of any fish proportional to its body size, again so that it can catch bigger prey. And despite looking so scary, it's only about 18 centimeters or 7 inches, and also looks much cuter as a juvenile. The viperfish also has large teeth for the same purpose, and the stoplight loose jaw has a hinged jaw, again so that it can catch bigger prey. The hairy anglerfish has a stomach that expands, so again it can swallow prey bigger than itself, and it's also covered in antennae which enable it to detect the movement of prey nearby. But the main strategy of anglerfish to deal with the lack of food is a lure to attract prey. This lure is found in shallow water anglerfish like frogfish, but in the deep sea species it glows because of a sac of bioluminescent bacteria. The whip-nose anglerfish has a particularly long lure, coffinfish have very short lures, and the illuminated net devil and football anglerfish have very fancy lures. And the barbelled dragonfish is another species that uses a bioluminescent lure to attract prey. Another way the deep sea environment is extreme is that it is sparsely populated. So not only can it be rare to come across food in the deep sea, it can also be rare to come across a member of the same species to mate with. So the anglerfish I just showed you were females, and her lure can also be used to attract males, along with her smell. Male anglerfish are much smaller, and they basically fuse to the female, becoming a parasite that provides her with sperm. And the black dragonfish is another deep sea fish where the male's sole purpose is reproduction. So there are lots of weird deep sea animals, especially lots of weird deep sea fish. But we have to remember that looking this way has enabled them to live in a very extreme environment, and that they only look weird to us. Where we see squashed things with weird body parts and big scary teeth, to each other, when they're in the deep sea, they're normal shaped, beautiful things that glow and drift and smell nice. And if you put a human down in their extreme environment, well, we would look very weird.